Well, hello. Let's do some painting. With wine, because stuff. More wine. Yeah. This is gonna be chaos. Trying out the Arteza Gouache. Actually, first time trying gouache at all. I like acrylic and I like oil. And gouache seemed very interesting because I fight with watercolor. We're not the best friends because it's hard. But this is like an opaque watercolor, so I'll give it a shot. And I can tell you, as I'm starting out, this is like painting with mucus. I know that's gross, but it's just what it feels like painting with mucus. That's the texture. It's gross. At this point, I'm just using it straight from, you can't say straight from the tubes because I put all the tubes into that little palette because I have an extreme aversion to the paint that comes in little tubes. I just hate it. Man, this first one is just so unpleasant. And it's super thick and gross and warping, and I do not like it. Oh, I don't like it. But we're gonna keep going, because I'm trying to figure it out. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is the first time I've used this medium, and it's weird to me. It's weird. And did I look up a single tutorial or anything like that to figure out how you're supposed to properly use gouache? No, I did not. Because I don't do that. I can't help myself. I just wanna get my hands dirty and just like kind of learn as I go. I seem to do art that way. I don't know why, but my brain wants to do that. What do you call it? Kinesthetic learner? Whatever that is. That. Yeah, just do it. This is not a shill for Nike, by the way. I'm still mad at Nike. I likely will be the rest of my life. The corporation that owns Nike can go to hell. So, let's move on. I am painting a nice sunsetty kind of late afternoon sky with some clouds that are starting to turn a little purple and kind of like peachish. Those dusty lavenders are some of my favorite colors. Not bad. Let's move on. I learned a little bit. Let's try tamping it down because the last one was so warbly that I just was not a fan. It was moving around a bit too much and the edges got real gross. So we're gonna just tape this down and see how that works with that. Because you can do that with like watercolors and stuff. And after you peel off the tape, then you get a nice, fresh, clean line on the edges. Shout out to the eczema on my hands and wrists for just being awful. I cannot help that. It just is what it is. Sometimes it's just, I have a flare up and it's just awful. And apparently that's today. And I have a suspicion that it may or may not get worse also when I'm drinking. So please enjoy my cracking bleeding witch hands as I make alien landscapes using snot paint. Because that's just where we are today, and that's just the mood. Could it be the alcohol? Maybe. Could it just be I'm just in a weird mood? Also maybe. Could it be I'm just angry? Yes. Lots of angry. But a lot of people are, and a lot of people should be. So let's do a little bit of art therapy. I've been quite enamored with green skies lately, so we're going to do that again. I have another Crayola video out where I've done a green sky with like vintage Crayolas. If you haven't seen that one, I'll put it in the cards. But the green skies is a lovely concept, and I wish I knew which atmospheric conditions would be required for the human eye to see a green sky. Would it be an iron-based, copper, or what would actually need to be in the atmosphere in large quantities for us to see a green sky? Because that would be a very cool-looking phenomenon. We would probably not survive it, but, just to look at it would be really cool. And so I am drawing, oh my God, I am painting that phenomenon. And I'm going to put these little spiky things sticking up from the clouds. And I'm not sure if it's like part of a floating island or if it's some sort of plant life that is kind of in a soupy environment underneath. I haven't really figured that out, I guess. A lot of these paintings that I do of alien landscapes are of dream things or things through meditation that I've been to and made, and they're not always very clear what's actually happening. And that is a very hard concept for me to describe to people because I have a feeling that my my brainscape is quite a bit different than most people's because of a lot of factors. One of those factors being that all of my senses mix together. So they don't stay in like the cubby holes that they're supposed to be in, sound has texture, it has feeling, it has like a sensation to it. Same with touch. Touch can like translate to sound sometimes. So like all of my senses get a little mixed up. I'm also very, very, very visual and audio in nature as a person. So I listen to a lot of things. I learn best through listening and by visually doing. So my brainscape is very much like a landscape. It is like its own world of texture and sound and movement. And that is how my brain processes thoughts and ideas and the data of things around me. That's how my brain does it. It is very much like its own landscape. If you have the capacity to explain what your brainscape is like, put it in the comments. I'm curious how other people access data and look at it and move through the world and through processes within their own brains. I just don't know how many people think about this kind of stuff. But are you ready for another painting? We're gonna try this again. We're gonna tape it down again because that helped for the second one. And I started figuring out how to better blend because I'm not the biggest fan of the snot texture. But if you add a little bit of water, it's behaving a little better and it's not so snotty. Maybe that means I've figured out how to get along with this medium. Wouldn't that be nice? Because it has most of the qualities that I like. And we're gonna polish off this bottle of wine, by the way. So cheers. If this works, if I can get to like gouache, this might be a really good in-between between acrylic and watercolor. And I like mixed media things. So gouache with other mediums might be right up my alley. We just make it angry skies. It's fine. It's fine. Who doesn't like some color contrast anyway? I'm not subtle when I make art. I'm not a subtle woman, okay? I'm just not. I got things to say, people to meet, things to do, and I gotta do them. And I ain't gonna do them in a subtle manner. That's just not how I'm built. I'm using a lot more water when I'm mixing these, especially on that background, and it is working out a lot better. So I think that just might be how I need to do this, is dip the brush in the water before I get the paint. That seems to help. Applying and mixing on paper. That seemed to help quite a bit. This is already much better than when we started. Beginning of the bottle was going a little rough, but by the end of the bottle of wine, this is actually pretty decent. I can work with this. We can get along. We're talking, we're dating, We're not life partners yet, but we're talking. I think I might be a fan of gouache. It only took 3 paintings for me to get there. So, contrast is nice. It's applying nicer now that I figured out the dipping of the water effect. I'm not going to promote the Arteza brand of this kind because I just don't know enough about other gouaches for me to suggest it to anybody. But it was cheap enough for a lot of colors to, learn how to use gouache with. I do not expect any sort of light fastness with it, as you should not for any student grade paint. Just don't expect that kind of thing at all. So I was able to put a more thin layer in the background, adding more water. So it was very, very flat. And in the very end stages of adding the dark parts of those clouds, I put on much thicker so it has a little bit of texture to it, which, is a technique that you can do with acrylic and also with oil, really. You can use with any medium that has a lot of body to it. And this does have a little bit of body to it, so you can do a little bit of texture. And I'm a fan of that. I like texture when adding color and all the sorts of things. It's adding extra data to your painting. I think I'm going to switch over to Chaser. I don't need to open up another bottle of wine right now. We're going to do a Chaser. It's fine. and we're going to do another painting. I haven't been able to do the plein air painting that I would under normal circumstances. I love to plein air paint. I love to go places and paint the landscape around you. If some of you who have never done plein air painting, let me explain what it is. Those are artists who attempt to capture a moment in time of a place. So your whole goal is to capture the feeling of a single moment in one location. And that's kind of what the goal is, to put the viewer of the piece of art in that place, in that time. So it's not just doing the landscape. It's also kind of trying to add more context to that area. The colors should match whatever time of day that you were there painting. So, an early morning plein air painting would look very different than a very late afternoon painting because all the colors are different. The colors change throughout the day. And, you can kind of add contextual details in a physical painting that you might not be able to in a photograph. So you can add texture to kind of help get across the idea of wind. Just that kind of thing. It's more of a trying to capture a feeling of a place. And I personally feel that it is one of the most difficult types of art to do. It just is. For me, it is incredibly difficult and it is incredibly rewarding and I love it. But the problem is you can only really do one at a time. And you have to be on the location to do it, to be able to capture the feeling of the space. It also means you have to travel. And guess what? I have not been traveling for the last few years because you know why. I used to be a healthcare worker and I've seen some awful criminal shit. And I want no part of what my former coworkers have done and are continuing to do. I want no part of that. Did I expect to have to leave another industry in my 30s? No, I did not. I did not expect to have to start over again. You see, I started out life with an architecture degree, and I hated the architecture so much that I decided to do literally anything else. And I ended up just kind of by accident in healthcare. And I did that for 8 years. And now it is time for me to do something else again. And so I'm going to give art a shot. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm giving art a shot. And in a lot of ways, these videos are plein air painting my own life right now. My own ideas and thoughts and the things that are going on. Trying to capture the feeling of the time right now in a way that gets past the things that are being censored. Trying to get past the things that can't be spoken. And art is a fabulous way to do that. It is. It always has been. It always will be. I'm likely going to have to make a Locals or Rumble or some other alternate place where I can put art videos that can't go on YouTube. I'm going to have to do that. And that makes me really sad to have to do that. But this is the time we're living in now. And I've got things to say. I really do believe the universe puts you in places that you're supposed to be and gives you tests that you yourself are supposed to fight. I've had a lot of context in my life to get me to this point, to be able to see what I've seen and to make the choices that I've made. There's a lot of stuff that's gotten me here. Almost none of it has been pleasant at all. And that's kind of, I'm sure, on purpose to prepare me for now, to be able to see farther, to be able to help people on the other side of this nonsense. I really believe I have been placed specifically so I can testify for what has happened. I am a witness, and I will bear witness upon the local people who have done the things they have done. I have seen it, and I will testify. At its core, the reason why art is a thing is because it is meant to be the vehicle for things that can't otherwise be spoken. Art is that, and artists tend to be chaotic for that reason. We're meant to be. We're meant to be ungovernable, and I have no respect for the artists who have sold their souls to this nonsense. History will not be kind to those people either. Y'all need to be thinking about your life choices. I'm not going to name any names right now, but y'all need to be second guessing what you're doing before you do the things you're doing, okay? I wonder how many different industries of people I can make angry within a lifetime. Because at this rate, we're looking at least 3. I can't help it. I'm an artist and I am a little uncomfortable. You know, I have this brain muscle called critical thinking. And narratives don't like people who can critical think. They don't. Look how warbly this is. This was my first one. It was not great. It didn't work out so good. You know, it was the snot painting. I feel like this is a painting I would have done in tempera paint in middle school. That's about the quality of this one. But the color's nice. Okay, so number 2, we got better at blending. We got a little better at layering too, which was a nice addition. Number 3, we're getting into territory I really liked. Now here is an actual painting of value. And then finally, number 4, the best of the lot. The fake plein air painting, because I didn't go anywhere. But it's just me in my brainscape talking to you guys about things that need to be said. There's a lot of beauty in life, you know, but you have to look for it between the rocks and the dirt and all the gremlin creatures running around causing havoc. But you can find it. It's there. Keep your cup full. Thank you for hanging out today. Bye.